What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Monday, February 23rd, 2026, and we are back with another live here on the Torian Rain Reloaded channel, and we got some stuff to discuss today. But before I get into all that, if you have not done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you are new. And if you are new to the channel, I'm glad that you are here. Hit the bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Let me see, who do we have so far here in the chat? We got some people that came in real early. We got Brother Reef, SD Johnson, Hurricane Nisi, Raging Woody, Lone Wanderer, Character Lover, Kindred 3, Reparation Nation, Letitia, Quinn, Neo Panther, Mahako, Lady Messenger, I Am Stewart. We got Pam in the chat, Junior Network, Tut Knees, DSM Sinister, Corey, August Dreams, Astardi Jones, Brian Mason, and Trinity to the Bone, SD Johnson, Cat, Yellow Ranger, and so on and so forth. Shout out to each and every one of you that is in the chat so far. Wallow J just popped up in here too. So, like I told y'all in the weekly recap that I did yesterday, I didn't have any intention to do a live today. I have a live that I'm doing also tomorrow, but that was going to initially be for tomorrow. But when I saw this, I said, I can't let this one slide. And I have to definitely talk about it. But then I also thought to myself, yes, I can do this live by myself, but that's no fun. That I need an extra added layer of commentary to this. And there was one person, actually there were two people, but one of them wasn't available. So one of them just happened to be available today, and they're actually in the back chat right now waiting to come up. And they've been on my channel before. I actually just shouted them out in this chat, but this is the first time we're going to be collabing at full length on this topic. And this is the perfect person to do it because this is their lane. So make sure y'all give a huge shout out in the chat, and make sure when y'all do subscribe to her channel, to Pam from Pam Entertainment TV. What's going on, Pam?
Hello, Torian. Hello, Chad. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing great. I'm just glad. I'm glad that we was able to finally, do a collab together. And I said, this is going to be perfect. The most perfect topic that we can talk about as it pertains to all of this foolishness that's going on across the pond. And I know you already we talked about it before we went live, that you already talked about it twice right by now.
Yeah, I did an initial video because I tell everybody I was watching it because they pre-recorded. And so yes. I have BBC One. So it was shown to me about 1:00. So I was listening to what was going on. The issue is that, I heard it, but I was coming from another room and I heard it. And then it was the face of Delroy Lindo. I was like, what happened? Did he miss his teleprompter? Because it was a certain face. And then 2 or 3 other presenters came up, and then you started hearing something in the crowd. There was this lady, they won for Best Children's Show called Boong. And you heard F such and such and such. And I was like, what is going on? Because I didn't know anything about this. He was there. I didn't know anything about that. Yeah. I was like, they must have a heckler. And it kept going and it kept going. And then the host, when he made this change into this white suit, and this was now mind you, this man has been doing this heckling, and it had been going on for maybe like an hour and 10, an hour and 15 minutes. And after the hour and 15 minutes, he comes up with his new change, and he says, and it wasn't even an apology. It was, and I'm paraphrasing. I just remember the last line is, if you felt like you were, we apologize if you felt like you were offended. Excuse me, sir. What is you talking about? Now, I've learned to understand, and let me just, I'm sorry, Torian. I'll get to talking and don't explain what I'm talking about. If you all are unfamiliar, there is the BAFTAs was held yesterday, and during the BAFTAs, Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan were the first presenters of the night. They presented their award, and then this man named John Davidson, who is a man that has Tourette's syndrome, he was in the audience. Now, what I found out subsequently is that prior to the show, They had alerted the audience that he was in the show and that he would be making expletives because one of his movies, a movie about his life, was being nominated at the award show. So he was there because he was the executive producer of that movie, and so the audience knew. So they do this. He's still heckling. So halfway through the show, they make this big announcement. And so everybody was a little uncomfortable because here's the problem that we have with BAFTA. Because I'm gonna I'm going to very, 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 very thin, and please, I mean microscopically thin grace because of this man. He has Tourette syndrome. But I'm of the belief that if those thoughts are in your mind, they came from somewhere. If you don't have
Yeah.
actions of a thought, you wouldn't say something words. I heard another creator say, well, he had all of those two white ladies that he heckled. How come he didn't say white trash? How come he didn't say, you know what I'm saying? It was just
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna give him the grace. The problem that I have is with BAFTA. Y'all, that show was taped almost 3 hours before, 3.5 hours before it aired. They had several presenters because even when you go back to the shorts that I was doing, I was like, wow, they're very efficient because I've never seen the BAFTAs before. I was like, wow, they're very efficient. I mean, these people go up, you don't need the music like the Oscars. They get the music to make you leave the show. Yeah, they don't have to do all of that. Well, that's because they edited. Okay. It was literally a 3.5 hour show that
Mm-hmm.
they edited down to two. Here's my problem with the BAFTAs. You had presenters up there talking about free Palestine. You had presenters talking about immigrants and migrants. They cut all of that out. Okay. You mean to
Mm-hmm.
tell me that you couldn't cut out or bleep out the expletives that this man was going to do? The Grammys, the Oscars, the American Music Award show, they do a 5 second delay because they know they possibly that the winner may cuss or say something untoward. You mean to tell me that there was nobody in that editing room that would edit that out? That's because you're into this thing about this inclusion. You're trying to include everybody and make it so that you are an inclusive award show because you have this man from Tourette's there, and that's performative to me. You included, but you in your efforts to be inclusive, you offended a whole different group because Hannah Beecher, she did an interview where she was saying, well, it was not only that, it was like everywhere he was shouting out slurs and derogatory things and stuff like that, making people
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable. And so that's where we are right now.
Yeah. And yeah, you pretty much like summarize all of it, but we're gonna go through it like step by step. And the thing about
Let's
it
do
is,
it.
is that
Let's
is
do it.
that the first thing I'm gonna bring up is this because, and me and you talked about this, is the fact that in the midst of all of that happening, this was a historical night for not only the movie Sinners, but also for Ryan Coogler, and it got
Right.
overshadowed by that. Because when I went on the Instagram, because this is how I found out about it. I went on the Instagram and Revolt TV had posted up. Ryan Coogler is the first Black director to win original screenplay for the BAFTAs ever, like the first one ever to win for that. Now, first off, before we get into that, let me explain like what the BAFTAs is. BAFTAs is another major award show. They really cater more to people over there in Britain, but they do have people who are nominated from American-based movies as well. I always say the BAFTAs is like the first cousin to the Oscars because they're like
Right.
really like closely related. When it comes to award seasons and like shows and television, the Emmys, the Critics' Choice, Golden Globes, SAG, BAFTAs, and Oscars are like the main ones, like the main big award shows when it comes to TV and film. And BAFTAs is one of those top tier ones. As far, of course, Oscars is always going to be the number one, but I would say BAFTAs is at least between 2 and 3. So it's a very big deal when it comes because a lot of them are very linked in with each other. So it's a very big deal. But they really cater to a lot of people over in Britain because that's really that. I would say BAFTA is more like their Oscars, so to speak. But they do have American-based films be nominated over there. And I think that Sinners won 3, and I think they were nominated for how many? Like
They were nominated for 12, and the other
won
movie,
3.
yeah.
And they won 3.
Right.
I know Brian Coogler won for original screenplay, which I think he's going to be a shoo-in to get at the Oscars. Wumi Musako, she won for best supporting actress, and then Ludwig Göransson won for best original score. And so that got overshadowed by the controversy of what we're talking about today. Because really, honestly, what I'm talking about right now, that should have been the main thing. That should have been talked about, anything pertaining to Sinners. But I had to bring that up because many people in the chat probably didn't even know this happened, because it got pushed to the back because of what we're talking about right now. Because negative headlines, that's always going to I guess you could say drown out everything.
Right.
But I just wanted to start with that part. Did you want to say anything before we go into the main portion?
No, I was going to tell you, yeah, because they're part of the group of award shows that make up award season, the BAFTAs. I would put Oscars, Golden Globes, then the BAFTAs, if you let me tell it. But yeah, this is like their Oscars, because a lot of they've got categories that are just pertaining to them over there in the pond, over across the pond.
Definitely. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead right now and I'm going to play the actual clip where the moment actually happened. And it's very short. Like as you can see, it's only 11 seconds. So some of y'all may not have seen it or heard it, but here it is right here, just in case y'all missed it.
Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making.
We're here to celebrate.
And so you heard it. Right there when Michael B. Jordan made the pause before Delroy was about to speak his lines from the prompter, and it happened right there. And you could tell it was almost like an awkward moment for both him and Delroy. Like they was like, because it's like Delroy had to kind of catch himself a little bit before he started to speak.
You saw that. That's what I saw. I was standing there and I was like, oh, did he miss his teleprompter? What happened? I mean, because I heard it, but I couldn't understand what was being said. And then when I I didn't rewind it, but when I got back online and talked about it, they were saying it, and I was like, oh gosh, let me see if I can find the clip. And Reddit never disappoints.
Yep. So that's the moment right there that it happened. And like Pam said, that award show is taped 2 to 3 hours before the rest of the world sees it. So it's not like it happened in real time. And they had enough time, way more than enough time, to edit that out. And it was like so much dead space right there. You could listen, as a person who edits their videos, I could have just went in there and cut that part down and you wouldn't have heard it. But they intentionally left that in there.
Exactly. I think
it wasn't an in real time thing. Like when you think of like Golden Globes, Oscars, even the Grammys, those are shows that are happening at the time that we're watching it. It's live. This is a recorded award show. So they could have went in and removed that part and it wouldn't have taken them long to do it. And it happened right at the beginning. So it's not like they had to comb through hours of footage to get to that point. And then boom, right there, pull it out, but they intentionally left it in.
Exactly. There was just you have already warned the audience that he was going to be making these outbursts, right? So the audience was prepared. So that this was going to have to go out to the world. You edited some things out, but you couldn't put a beep, because even with the Golden Globes, even with the Oscars, even with the Grammys, they're on a 5-second or a 10-second delay. Yeah. They have enough time. 10 seconds is enough for them to be able to press a button to beep something out. So BAFTA has no excuse for that.
And it's interesting you bring up the Golden Globes. It's a reason why Ricky Gervais isn't hosting that show anymore, because I know they probably spam that 5-second delay every time he hosted, especially the last time he hosted. I mean, if y'all want to see someone who wants to bow out after doing the hosting. Look at the 2020 Golden Globe monologue by Ricky Gervais. He went in on the Hollywood standard as a whole. And even throughout the night when he would come on and he would give his little excerpts in between the parts, he was still going in, even with how he ended it. This was a guy that was just over it. I got my issues with Ricky Gervais, but he really took it there. And he didn't. Now that was unapologetic hosting right there. And he has not been invited back since, but I don't think he cared to be invited back. But I think for a ratings purpose, if they wanted to boost the ratings, they would bring him back.
Yeah.
So for, like I said, for the people who didn't get a chance to see the video or the clip, there it is right there. But I have to also, before we go into our first article, I have to address this tweet right here coming from this individual by the name of Ada Aneki. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this person's name correctly or not. Did you see this tweet that this person put up?
Let me see. Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo really held themselves well after hearing someone shout in at them while presenting. While John Davidson can't help it due to his condition, it was hard to watch and see the pain in their eyes on stage. Yeah.
And see, this goes into the thing where Black people always have to be graceful, even when we are the target of an attack, whether it's a physical or attack, or in this case, a verbal one. Because remember, we was talking about before we went live, if they was to get out there and say what they really wanted to say on that stage and treat this as if this is like, I'm gonna just throw it out there, as if this was the Source Awards. Y'all know how crazy that was back in the day. For those who remember the Source Awards, then it would have been a problem. Then somehow it would have been Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo acting out of character. I could imagine what the usual suspects would have got online and started to say all over the place and say, oh, they're being unprofessional, or, the usual thing that they would love to say about us. But
they're angry.
The angry Black man. There it is. That's what I was looking for. And the typical thing. If they would have said it, then I can only imagine too what the conversation was like after, like behind the scenes, like backstage, or after the show was over when they left. I can only imagine what they were talking about after the fact.
Like I said, BAFTA is completely wrong for that. And like I said, I have like a very thin paper line of grace. However, if information floods your mind, it floods your stuff and all this other stuff. Because I will say that I didn't realize it until probably a few months ago that I follow someone who has Tourette's. And he made mention, because he's on TikTok, I can't think of what his name is, but he always says something like sensational. I can't think that's what he says. But anyway, but he was saying that, he has those outbursts all the time, but you never hear it in his commentary because he edits all of it out. And so this is a person who actively lives with Tourette's that can sit and edit something out. And BAFTA couldn't do that as well.
Exactly. Like we said, like this was a show that was recorded that people watched after it was done. They could have edited that out, and it would have been quick. It would have been a very quick edit. But of course, the excuses started to come in, and one came from none other than the host himself, Alan Cumming. Now, for those of y'all who don't know who Alan Cumming is, he's an actor. He's been around for years. I'm talking about probably since the 90s at the very least. Many people may not be too familiar with his work, but if you are a child of the 90s and the early 2000s like myself, you will remember him as Nightcrawler in X-Men 2. If you don't know him for anything else, you probably definitely know him for that. But he came out there and he started to throw up the defense for what happened. It says BAFTA's host Alan Cumming asks for quote unquote understanding as Tourette syndrome campaigner John Davidson shouts strong language and slurs at winners and presenters. It says BAFTA Film Awards host Alan Cumming thanked the audience for their understanding on Sunday night after a number of outbursts from Tourette's campaigner John Davidson during the show. Davidson, who was an inspiration for BAFTA-nominated movie I Swear, was diagnosed with the syndrome at the age of 25. His symptoms, which first began when he was 12, include tics and uncontrollable outbursts, often involving cursing. See, this is what they're doing. They're softening the blow so people can ease up off. I'm sorry, you can't control how people are going to feel and react to something like that. And they're not going to care that he has Tourette's. They're really not. Because if you notice, a lot of the time, and this is why I tell people that Dub S is global. If them individuals could probably speak a whole nother language besides English, but they gonna know that N-word and they'll say it. They're gonna know that word. They'll either say it in English with their accent attached to it, or they're gonna say it in their native tongue, and you won't understand what they're saying. Now that word has spanned the globe millions of times over. It goes on to say a number of outbursts could be heard throughout the BAFTA community. Ceremony, including STFU being shouted during an introductory speech from BAFTA chair Sarah Putt, and FU from when the directors of Boom, which won the BAFTA for Best Children and Family Film, accepted their award. During another outburst, the audience inside the BAFTAs had heard Davidson shout the N-word when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo presented the award for Best Visual Effects to Avatar Fire and Ash. It says, you may have noticed some strong language in the background. This can be a part of how Tourette's syndrome shows up for some people as the film explores that experience. Coming to the audience, which included the Prince and Princess of Wales. Thanks for your understanding, helping create a respectful space for everyone. So what do you think about that?
First of all, I have that little quick joke. Not the prince, not the Duke and Duchess of Wales out here. They was worrying about what color Archie was, so they weren't really worried about they were flying in there. I'm sorry, bad joke. Like I said, I heard when the people of Boong won, and they were up there because she spoke in her native tongue, and as she was speaking in her native tongue, to tell the people whatever she was, it was. But I heard FUB. That's what I heard. I didn't just hear the FU. I heard FUB. So I think Alan Cummings, again, I'm giving very slithers of grace. That was probably a written statement by BAFTA's publicist to thinking that, because he probably had goodwill because he was not Crawler. I don't know. But I think that those were just, they thought that was going to quelch the online wrath that they were receiving. If they just, we've already said something about it, and we put this other statement out here. We don't understand why you all are still talking. You cannot pop me in my face and then dictate how am I supposed to respond to you popping me in my face. I just don't understand that. And it doesn't matter what community that you come from. If I offend another community, I can't sit here and dictate to that community how they're supposed to react to my disrespect or anything like that. I have to accept whatever they come at me. And I mean, and it just is real. And to throw out terms like you all are being ableist and all of these other stuff. No, we are reacting to a slight. And we have every right to react to a slight to us, because best believe if we have done something to somebody else, we
know how that engagement would have been. We know how that discourse. We know how we would have never heard the end of it, and they wouldn't have kept it focused. Let's just hypothetically say that it came from, and we're just hypothetically saying it's coming from Michael B. Jordan. Not only would he not hear the end of it, but we as a community wouldn't hear the end of it. Then you would have heard calls for, you heard what he said? They would have been putting the call saying we need to revoke his Oscar nomination. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, they would have been they would have been on the phone and shouted, and by association, let's get sinners all the way off the Oscar nominations, because they felt some type of way with all the nominations that movie got. Mm-hmm. So you already know, just guilt by association, they would have not only gone after Michael B. Jordan, but they would have gone after Ryan Coogler as well, because just close proximity.
Right. You could have seen it, and they would have been trying to cancel. They would have been trying to cancel Michael B. Jordan. Any of his upcoming projects, he probably would have lost all the rights and things to those projects and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Had he had just, because I'm gonna be real, I saw the Newark about to come out.
Yeah, people forget that Michael B. Jordan is from Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, I saw it bubbling. I saw it because I used to live in Elizabeth long years ago. I saw it bubbling. And because Elizabeth, New Jersey and Newark, New Jersey run right into each other. I saw it bubbling, but he kept it cool. He Denzel'd it down. I can tell that he Denzel'd it all the way down, but I saw it come up. And that's when, Delroy Lindo just showed up and thing. But like I said, you can't ask a community, BAFTA, in my opinion, was trying so hard to be so inclusive that they alienated a whole other community. And here's the other thing, Torian. The person that played this man in the movie, he won Best Lead Actor. And so you overshadowed your person's stuff, along with Ryan Coogler being the first Black man to win a BAFTA in original screenplay. This overshadowed all of this, and it could have been, it should have been for all the winners. This overshadows all of that, only because you didn't edit this thing, because we can't control anything live. And I think that they did what they needed to do to control the things in live. But I am so sorry, and I'll keep going and I'll keep harping on this thing. They could have bleeped all of this out. We would have never known unless somebody in the award show 5 or 6 years later would have said something.
Mm-hmm. But they let it rock. They let it stay in there. Rock. And it got exactly what they want. And I think I read in another article. I'm not going to pull it up, but I'll just mention it here. I think they removed the entire show off of BBC, so you can't even watch it. I'm like I said, y'all just made this whole situation bad for you. You would have okay. Think of all the award mishaps that we dealt with over the years. Of course, let me just start here. Will Smith and what happened at the Oscars. Him slapping Chris Rock. You had the incident also at the Oscars when they read the wrong name for La La Land when it was really Moonlight. What else did you have up there? You can even go back in the day when Marlon Brando didn't show up when he won for The Godfather, and he had that Native American woman come up there and get the award on his behalf, because at that time he was like anti-Hollywood. It's a lot of things that happen. You can now add this into the bunch.
If they wanted their 15 minutes of fame, they surely got it. If that's what they were doing, but this was handled quite poorly. It was handled quite poorly.
Very. Someone on that team would probably a few people would have been getting fired.
Listen. I'm talking about with the big boot to the behind out the door. Fired. Now they have this thing called iPlayer. I don't know exactly what that is, but Torian, they didn't take that down until, let's see, that aired for me at 1 o'clock, and they didn't take it down until, listen, it aired in England at 1 o'clock, whatever the corresponding time at 1 o'clock. It didn't air in the United States until later that evening. You didn't even take it out during that time.
Yeah, that was very intentional.
You see what I'm saying?
Which leads to this. We already talked about it, but they have a whole article about it. BBC criticized for nixing Free Palestine tribute from BAFTA coverage. So this right here was probably the worst thing that could have came out for them after the fiasco itself, because that shows right there that you could have edited that out, but you chose to leave it in. But this is what you edited it out. But you left the part where he screams out and blurts out that word while 2 black men are on that stage. But this was the part you edited out. And this was during an entire speech, an acceptance speech.
Exactly, because I watched this speech. That's why I was telling you, like, if you watch any of my shorts, I can't remember which one it was. I was like, wow, they are very good about making sure that the people get up. The music doesn't force the people from speaking and stuff like that. That's because it was edited. When I saw this, I was like, BAFTA has no excuse. They wanted it to stay in, and I don't care what anybody says. They wanted it to stay in. There was no need for it. Because again, it seems like my community can be disrespected, and everybody wants us to hold grace for the disrespect. And it looks like this community, that community, and we understand what that means when they say that free Palestine and which community that they're talking about. I call them Jacob and them. You make sure, and you take such care to make sure that they're not offended. You take good care to make sure that they're not offended. I need for you to have that same grace and take that same kind of care, because all it took was a press of a button that would have at least put a little beep in there, or like you said, Torian, they could have split and spliced that little piece out, and no one would have ever known. Even when that woman was speaking, the same thing, because it always happened during you know how when you're speaking and then you take that little breath and there's a pause, and that's when it was there. It wasn't like it was something continuous. It was just like when there was a break, F you, inward this, you know. So
yeah, that's what I have to, and that's typically what I have to do. Like if I'm doing a reaction style video and it's going to be like a lot of cussing in it, I'll have to go back in there and just make sure to splice that down and then lower the volume to it's practically on mute. So that's why, like, if there's a point where you see someone's mouth moving but there's no sound coming out of it, that's where I made the edit. That's what I had to do with the video about the chick that made that threat against us, and I had to do that there. And I have to do that on a few videos. But yeah, it can easily be done, and their technology and their equipment is way more expensive than mine.
And you know, I don't even have the technology, but I know how to press the mute button. You understand what I'm saying? I know how to press a mute button or something so it won't come out. And like I said, I just don't. BAFTA has I surely hope that they called Delroy, Lindo, and Michael B. Jordan, and I sure hoping a representative has spoken to them, because from the last video that I made, Delroy Lindo said he hadn't received anything from anybody at that point from after the award show. I surely hope that they did, because you know that's a level of disrespect, because they are our icons. And to be disrespected like that, and there be no apology, because you let it have been two white women, and he to call them FUBCCSs and all kinds of stuff like that. You would have seen the apologies come out, and we want people to hold grace and all this other stuff, and we so profusely apologize to you. But it takes backlash from the community before you would see that, hey, this is a problem. And then we have all the apologists. Well, what do you want them to do? I mean, he has a disability. Is he supposed to apologize? He's supposed to apologize who he offended.
Definitely. And here's the thing, Pam. And here's the thing, Pam. A lot of Black people outside of, minus like myself and you, who probably are aware, didn't even know what the BAFTAs was until this incident. What a bad first impression.
Right.
Many Black people didn't know what the BAFTAs was. Like, if you would have told them, like, can you tell me what BAFTAs is? They would look at you like you was a three-headed hydra. So many people didn't know what that was, but they know now because of this.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but here's the kicker. You know why they know about it? Because Sinners was nominated.
True.
Do you understand? I need for the audience to understand. People didn't know anything about the BAFTAs, or they weren't even interested into the BAFTAs, only because Sinners is nominated. And if you understand, like Torian and I understand, how Hollywood always wants to act like anything that Black folks do is subpar and people are not behind it. You know, Black folks have launched networks, music careers, all of these different things just by us taking interest in it. And like Torian said, the only reason that a lot of people understood or knew what the BAFTAs was is because everybody was looking at the fact that Sinners had been nominated. Had Sinners not been nominated, people wouldn't have been paying.
We would not have
people
cared.
No.
All right, before I go to the next thing, shout out to Romario for the 30. He said, like Jamie Foxx said, he meant that is. Shout out to Jamie. And yeah, I remember Jamie Foxx had left a comment. I forgot on what Instagram page it was, but Jamie Foxx left a comment and he got so many likes, and I think they pinned it too. And
it
that's
was
what Jamie Foxx said.
He left one on the Shade Room and he left one on the Neighborhood Talk.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe it's going to take people who's from in the industry like Jamie Foxx to actually say stuff like that, because again, they know Jamie knows these two individuals. He knows Ryan. They're all cool with each other. And the thing is, you don't even have to be cool with them to know that this was dead wrong from all parties involved. So I mean, we hold. I don't care. We hold in John Davidson's feet to the fire, as well as the BAFTA organization. Right. Because this, this could have been avoided. Y'all knew that this dude had Tourette's and knew he was going to be blurting out things. Y'all just didn't know what he was going to say because it's one of the things you just say on the fly. Then why did you have him there? Like, he could have watched via satellite, or maybe he could have watched from the green room. Don't have him in the room. If y'all know that if this is the type of outburst he's going to have, like, why? Because that interrupts everything. And speaking of fake apologies, let's talk about this. And I know you just put a video up about it on your channel. BBC sorry for airing racial slurs shouted by guests with Tourette's at BAFTAs. How sorry are you? And who did you apologize to? Because if it wasn't to these two guys right here, the apology shouldn't be accepted. They were the ones these were the two right here that had the slur hurled at them. And if it didn't come from also John Davidson for what he said, then apology not accepted. And even if he does issue an apology, the apology is still not accepted. It's getting to that point where an apology just ain't enough.
And you know what I don't like about even that, and I don't know if this is the article that has the apology in it, because not only did I think a Deadline article has John Davidson's quote unquote apology, along with the lady who's over the CEO of the Tourette Society over there. It wasn't really an apology, more so than, hey, you all just need to let this slide, because. Go ahead.
Yeah, because even like here, this is a quote from Delroy Lindo. Says, after the ceremony, Lindo told Vanity Fair that he and Jordan did what we had to do as they carried on presenting the category, but also said he wished someone from BAFTA spoke to us afterward. So again, this apology is coming the next day, like today. And so you're telling the world that you're apologizing, but you're not apologizing to the two that deserve the apology. Correct. Like that again, backhanded, whatever. At this point, even if they decided to come out and say, "Oh, we apologize to the two," I wouldn't accept it. Me personally.
And you know what? You know what's so awful about it? Let those two men had looked at that, heard that, and they turned around and walked out of there. Everybody would be, well, they're acting like children because they walked away. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, everyone
the amount of excuses that I saw online, especially on Twitter. It's Twitter. The amount of excuses that I saw people give behind this, and then also had the nerve to try to tell other Black people how they should deal with stuff like this. I think that's the part that annoys me more than anything. And we briefly talked about it earlier throughout this live. Don't sit up there and try to tell Black people as a collective how they should deal and not deal with situations such as these. Because you know for a fact that if the shoe was on the other foot, you would be causing all kinds of chaos too. But when it's us, we're supposed to just accept
it. Grace. Yeah,
exactly. Have grace. Be professional. Just roll with the punches, as they said back in the day. I'm sorry. This is not back in the day. This is what? February 23rd, 2026 at 4:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that no more. And I think that's another reason why that's probably why they are so fed up with us, because we're not being the docile person anymore. Is there are not, let me just say this. There are still some docile people out there, granted, but not nearly as much as it once was. And they don't like the turning of that tide. Like they say, they getting too uppity. They talking too much. They talking back. Well, we got to do something about this. We're being replaced. I gotta
And someone put it in your comment section. Someone put it in your comment section, and I'm telling you, it is the truth. It is the truth. It is the truth. Everyone uses us as that. Either we are blamed for stuff as Black Americans, we are blamed for stuff that we don't have no control over. We are expected to then go to work for you. It doesn't matter who you are. So we don't have any friends, and it doesn't feel like we have any allies either. Because again, I was on that dumpster fire of Twitter X, and I saw all those things about we just need to hold grace. We just, this, that, and the third. Like I said, I have the very slither of grace, a very slither. But still, I think to uplift this community of people who suffer from Tourette's, you had to downplay my community. And that's the part I do not like. That's the part that I do not like. You knew this person was going to be making all these things. There are accommodations for a reason. And like you said, they could have made it so that the acoustics from the theater wasn't going to be so great. That the mic shouldn't have picked up all of those acoustics from there, because I know that there's technology and stuff like that. I mean, even this mic that I'm sitting on, my TV in the room is blasting, but I don't think anybody hears it because the technology is going that it could be muted out or whatever the wording is. I'm not as technologically sound. And like I said, there should have been accommodations made. I don't understand why my community has to hold grace and suffer through all of this, and no one else, and try to make us feel like we are accountable or something is wrong with us because we just won't accept it. I have a big problem with that. I have the hugest problem, and I surely hope that these two young men have had someone come from BAFTA and give them a face-to-face apology, because I doubt it. This is crazy.
I doubt it, because if they did, they would have said it. And, and the thing is, it wouldn't be enough. Like the same way that happened. And I think what also made it bad is because this was on a public setting where the world can see this. It's not like something that was handled behind closed doors where it just happened and they were the only ones in the room. Everybody saw and heard this on that night, and it got overshadowed. It overshadowed everything, because like I said, on Twitter, literally an hour, maybe less than an hour after this happened, Tourette's was trending #1 on Twitter, and it trended for a while, for a few hours. I think I saw John Davis's name. I think I saw his name trend. BAFTAs was trending, and it wasn't because of the awards. It was because of this. I got one more thing to go over, and then I'm gonna drop the link, because there's some people I know that are clawing wanted to get up here. I know they got some strong opinions about this. But the last one I want to go over is this one, because talk about someone who ain't accepting no apology. Shout out to Hannah Beachler. Now, in case y'all don't know who Hannah Beachler is, I'm gonna just give her a proper title. She is an Academy Award-winning production designer. She worked on the first Black Panther movie. I think she worked on the second one too, but she worked on the first Black Panther movie. She won an Oscar for that. I think she was the first Black woman to win for that, and for production design for that category. So kudos to her. She also did the production design for Sinners as well, and she was nominated for that as well. So congratulations to her again. But she said that this was a throwaway on stage apology, which it was. That's exactly what it was. They could have kept that.
Yeah,
I'm convinced that a lot of people do not know how to give a proper apology. They really don't. And let's be real here. If most people would not apologize for the things that they say or do if they were not forced to do so. especially in situations like this. If they were not forced to apologize, they would not do it.
Facts. That's I mean, you just spoke volumes. That's volumes being spoken. People think that they can just do anything and everything that they want. And you know what bothers me about that? If we're just talking about this in this realm, people feel like they have said some of the most egregious things about my people. And I love my people, good, bad, or indifferent. I know there are a lot of us that are moving like we're supposed to move. I know that there's some of us that are moving not like we're supposed to move, but that's with every community. But it bothers my soul that you feel like my community is supposed to absorb all of this hate, all of this vitriol, all of this. You have other communities are supposed to have authority over our mouths, over our bodies, over our thoughts, over all any of these things. I have a big problem with that. And you see it so clearly. I think with all of this technology, because see, before me coming up, if you didn't live in my vicinity, I wouldn't have heard what you had to say. But now with technology, somebody in Timbuktu can get on this internet, get on a social media post and post some stuff, and you'll hear it in real, you'll hear all this vitriol in real time. But what bothers me is when we respond, y'all are xenophobic. Y'all are being ableist. Y'all are a hate group. Y'all are this, y'all are that. Why is it okay to
that's pure gaslighting to make us like to try to like tame us down from going overboard. And also to add in with the apology, you know, they won't do the apology. Another thing is most people will not apologize to someone unless they know for a fact the person that they're apologizing to will accept it. That's why a lot of them don't want to apologize, because of fear that the person they're apologizing to will not accept it. They feel like everyone should accept any apology that you give. Some things that you do are just things that you cannot accept an apology for or forgive them for. Like, it's one of those forgive or forget things. Some people are not going to forgive and then they'll forget, or some people aren't going to forget but they'll forgive, and then some people are savages and will not forgive nor forget. So it all depends on the situation at hand, who is being directed to, and then you have to let the person who you aggrieved, they have to make the decision whether they want to accept the apology or not. If they don't want to accept the apology, hey, kudos to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo for not accepting the apology. If they don't, if they do, hey, it is what it is. We can't do nothing about it. Me personally, I know I wouldn't, but I don't live in their body, so I can't force them to be of my mindset.
Well, I'll just tell you what my grandmother used to tell me. People can apologize to you, you know, because this little thing about forgive and forget, she never believed in that. She says, you can forgive somebody, but you never forget what they've done. You have to adjust your life to make sure that they don't have access to you to do what they've done to you before. You don't have to, you don't have to be talking about them. You don't have to say anything, but you are responsible for not allowing those people back into your space. So I can forgive you, but I ain't gonna forget what you did.
Right. All right. So we done went through all the articles. We went through the video. So now it's time to hear from the family. And y'all know we doing the timer thing. Listen, I already know y'all gonna hit this link hard, because it's one of those topics that I know many of y'all got some opinions about, and I can't wait to hear what y'all got to say. So y'all know we're gonna treat it like how we usually do it. I'm putting the timer on, and I definitely have to do the timer today, because I know it's probably gonna be a lot of people that's gonna click the link. And usually I'll have it for 3 minutes, but because of time and because I know it's gonna be a lot of you, I gotta reduce it to 2 minutes. So these are like quick, rapid fire thoughts.
Well, let me mute up because I can't wait.
All right. So I just dropped the link in the chat. So go ahead and start flooding on in. I'm waiting. I know when I decided I was going to do this live today, I already knew that when this link dropped, people was going to have a lot, and I do mean a lot, to say about this.
And I would listen,
especially if they never seen the breakdown like this.
Listen, when you inbox me, I was like, "Oh, Oh, I know it's something. If he's asking me, come on.
Yeah. I'm so glad you did, because I know, because you mentioned some things that I probably would have missed. So that's why I'm glad that I had you up here. All right, so okay. I see who wants to be first. Let me play the intro right quick.
Heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
Good evening, Torian and Pam. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Great.
All right. Since I'm the auntie in the chat, Torian knows this, and I'm sure you heard me do my spiel, Pam. This is what I got to say. F that forgive shit. No apology is accepted over here. That was a deliberate humiliation ritual. Sinners is gonna be mocked through all these award shows because they can't stand Black excellence. So to Mr. John Davidson, Tourette's or not, fuck you, asshole. B1.
And that's why she wanted to go first, because usually Miss Niecy likes to go last. But today, she said, I felt it in my spirit. I have to go first.
Oh, I'm gonna show y'all my face, because I am ready for all of these speeches. I am ready. Thank you, Miss Niecy. I needed that.
Shout out to Miss Niecy for setting the tone, for kicking it off. All right, next up we got Wallow J. What's going on, Wallow?
What's going on, Torian? What's going on, Miss Pam? Hello, everybody in the chat. I'm gonna be short and brief like Miss Niecy. All I gotta say is what goes around comes around. That's all I really gotta say, because they want to keep playing these games. Go ahead and keep playing these games. That's all I really got to say, because if I say something more, yeah, somebody's feelings gonna get hurt.
And hey, that's what I like. Like I said, rapid fire responses. All right, next up we got Xavier. What's going on?
Hey, Brother Torian, B1, and
B1.
hey, Miss Pam, and happy Black History Month. This is BS. I think it was very irresponsible for BAFTA to put this guy on, knowing that Tourette's is very unpredictable, and also you can't bring out what wasn't there in the first place. He definitely had that in him for it to come out. It wasn't manufactured, so. Yeah, this is some bullshit, and I really hope, like Sister Pam said, I really hope they do a proper apology for this, because this didn't make no sense. Anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for bringing me up.
No problem. All right, shout out to Xavier for coming up. All right, next up we got Scoop. What's going on?
What's going on, Torian? Man, look, man. Why they keep playing in our face? These people don't like us. They prove it every day. They can keep that apology, because it ain't real. That's how they really feel. I like people to tell me how they really feel. And this is it. But go right ahead. Keep on. Keep on playing with foundational Black Americans, and you're going to find out the hard way. I'm gone.
Appreciate you coming up. You know what this also reminds me of? Remember the Ambien, Pam? Remember the Ambien with Roseanne?
Fresh my memory, because I think I do.
Okay,
she said something off the cuff.
Yeah, she said she had a call. What was her name? Oh, I forgot the woman's name. I think she was in Obama's cabinet. Someone in the chat remind me what that woman's name was. She had called her some slur, and she said, I thought she was white. And then she tried to blame it on the Ambien that she was taking. And then the official Ambien Twitter account said, we have a lot of side effects, but racism isn't one of them. Oh, I remember that. I said, that's what that reminds me of. I said, Roseanne, sit your tired self down. Then she tried to come back.
Jarrett. That's right.
Yeah, Valerie Jarrett.
Said that about Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah, Valerie Jarrett. And before we go even further, shout out to Lisa Cabrera for dropping the 200. Oh my God. Y'all put some 200s in the chat for Lisa Cabrera. Yes. Shout out to Lisa. And if y'all want to subscribe to her channel, why not? If y'all subscribe to me, y'all should be subscribed to her.
She does great content. I'm subscribed as well. She does great content.
Definitely. Shout out to Lisa. All right, next up we got Linwood. What's going on?
I'm still learning. Let me say this for the record. As our late grandcestor, Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. once said, if you do not understand white supremacy racism, what it is and how it works, everything else you understand will only confuse you. And those gentlemen, Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, practice a great form of what I call black self-respect. They refuse to apologize. They refuse to accept an apology. And quite frankly, I don't want an apology from a racist white supremacist. I don't want nothing from them. What I would want to see happen to that Tourette's racist white supremacist is to attack him hard. Go after his family, go after his children, go after his companies, go after it all. Let's go after these people aggressively. Let's not sit on the sideline and just be talking about it on social media sites. Let's go at him hardcore. Let's go after the awards people. Let's go after the actors or people who presented him up there as this. The Tourette's syndrome. Yeah, I know what Tourette's syndrome is, but Tourette's does not make you a racist. And all white people practice that behavior in their thoughts, speech, and action. And this is a great moment because Donald Trump is in that office, and I'm happy because they're now coming out with it. But the sad part about it is we're not on code. We are scattered like roaches. We don't have a code of conduct to follow to counter racism. Our children are out there, running around reckless, thinking that we're all this post-racial garbage, and we're not. And what's worse, we're not even teaching our babies about what racism is and how it works. We're leaving our children out there like Tamir Rice to be shot down in the street by a race soldier. Leave them out there to dry. We got to protect. We got to do better as a people who are subjected to black classification. We have to do a hell of a lot better than this. It's easy to be reactionary and get into these FBA versus ADOS wars, but that's playing right into the hands of the racist white supremacists. Divide and conquer is how they win. Unification for us means they lose. So this one thing about the racist white supremacists saying this, okay. But what do we do to keep him out of power? What do we do to keep him from harming black people? What are we doing to keep these people away from positions where they're able to harm us? Where's our priorities at when it comes to making sure that these people are not in our way? That's the question I want to pose today. What is our next move? Yeah, thank y'all for letting me come up. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Shout out to Linwood for coming up. Next up, we got AW1. What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on, Miss Pam and Torian? Are we shocked, y'all?
No.
Exactly. And, shout out to Michael B. Jordan, because, I think he's around our age, right, Torian?
Yeah, I think he's got me maybe about a year or two.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and the other brother, I've seen him in so many projects, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Shows you how old I am.
39 years old. He just had a birthday.
Yeah, he sure did.
39? All right. We're the same age. But but shout out to that other brother too. I mean, they just look, it's like the way they responded, it's like they weren't even shocked. Like, okay, let's just go on. It's just another day in our lives as being Black Americans. But also, I'm gonna give a shout out to you, Torian, and your co-host there for the work y'all do in our community, how y'all represent us.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you too. And one more thing, two things, Torian. One, I know you look forward to Michael Jackson biopic.
Oh, definitely.
Y'all,
most definitely.
Did Nicole did she get like a spot on that movie or something?
Not that I know of.
I hope so. All the work she did, she deserves it. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you remember, she's the one that presented Jafar Jackson. Because when I first heard that, boy, I was like, man, one day he can actually he can play his uncle, I think. He sounds just like him.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be really blown away by the way he sounds.
Listen, I'm blown away just by looking at the trailer. So I already know when the movie itself is going to be just.
And it's going to be 2 or 3 parts, right?
Well, probably going to be in 2 parts, most likely.
Yeah, because I mean, Mike, you got. I mean, to tell his whole story, it's gonna take longer than one movie.
You know, one of the things I have been, you know, listening to what's been going on online, particularly with the those Epstein files, that he's pretty much been exonerated with all of this child essay and all of this other stuff. How they were literally trying to set him up for,
and they're still trying to get him.
Stuff. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the biopic as well.
Yeah,
me too. And I like that the family and the estate's in charge of it, not some other, you know.
Oh, definitely, most definitely.
I mean, because maybe with this they can tell the truth and expose these a-holes that try to get him. And you know, but yeah, and Tori, well, I gotta say, I'm disappointed. You should have got a part of that movie, man. You're an extra. You got experience.
You crazy. But
I appreciate it. All right, peace out. B1 Tori.
All right, shout out to AW1. Next time we got Quinlan. What's going on?
B1 family. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Hey, what's going on, brother? Listen, I'm a long time follower. Usually I just stay in the chat. You know, from Tariq, Black Alpha, a couple of y'all out here. So I appreciate y'all. Salute. But the main thing that we need to take from this is not new. When boxers and movie stars and everybody was going crazy in the Harlem Renaissance, this was the same thing going on. You know, right now we got Sister Brooke, Dr. Divine at the American Freedmen Legal Fund and the project they got going on in New York for our reparations. You got delineation paperwork going on right now with the census. Right now, the world is showing us that, you know, we're going to use Black outrage as a psyop for everything going on. Just like y'all said, Mike was protecting those kids. You have different people in those files that have been running things for a long time. Right now, you know, our youth are getting very empowered, including me. I'm 26, just to let y'all know. So that's why I say salute to the OGs in the chat. I re-enlisted to go into the Navy, and I'm thinking about taking on the nuclear program. So, you know, these are things that they see are happening right now. We're coming into another renaissance, and they cannot stop it. So right now, you know, we're all being very empowered. We're all on code. I do not see anybody in mass that are off code. So, you know, we do teach our youth. We definitely teach our youth to not. I mean, my mother was teaching me back in 06. I was about 6 years old. I was born in 99. You know, even when getting pulled over, how to react with certain things. You know, this is my mother. My father, he was teaching me certain things back then. I mean, under Obama, we were literally running for our lives, being killed like dogs in the street, and nobody did anything about it. Okay, I grew up in Central Florida. I remember when Trayvon Martin was killed. We had all of us with hoodies on and Skittles and Arizona iced tea in elementary school. So all of this goes and ties together. See, tethers, they think the history starts after 1960. No, history starts like 500 years ago. This is a whole history of them doing the same thing over and over again. So shout out to y'all. We got to keep calling this stuff out. Yeah, but you know, we're so focused on the bigger picture right now that they got to do these little psyops right now. They have no choice. So anyways, family, I salute to y'all. Peace and blessings to the OGs. And keep up the great work, family. We're doing a very great job right now. We're doing phenomenal work. This is the best work we've done. We got more done in the past year than I've seen my whole life. Like I said, I'm 26. So it's 26 years of hard work. And salute to y'all, man. Hopefully I can join these lives and not depart. So peace.
Appreciate you.
You know what's interesting? What's interesting is people are discombobulated. I think, you know, again, I don't know what it is, and I don't even try to begin to explain it. But you know, being like I said, there's a few of us that are not on code, and we know why that they're not on code. But I have just seen how the masses of other folks how discombobulated, because all the old tactics that were used to kind of, you know, to shush us up, they're not working, and they don't know what to do. They just don't know what to do.
They're literally running around like a chicken with their head cut off. Yeah, you're right. They don't know what to do. Like, you can see it all online on Twitter and everything. I don't know. They are in another realm somewhere. They talking about they're being replaced and all this, that, and the third, and they have to try to find another scapegoat. The old guard is not working. That thing has pretty much failed. It's done with. It's over. It's tired. You even had Richard Spencer come out and say that type of content has become boring. And I said that before he said it. I said it has become boring. They're hanging on to something that has no life in it anymore. So now they got to try to pivot. And Pam, we was kind of briefly talking about that before we got started. With another particular group that, you know, they had like their little run, and now they've ran out of gas.
Oh yeah, and it is now. Oh well, we need to talk about the black folks. We need to talk about what they're talking about and do it. No. Go back over there and do all of that. Those gender war topics are over. People are not talking about that. No one is caring about that, and the grifters are not being able to make money over that. That's why I said you have to kind of at the end of a lot of my thing, I said mind your dollars and mind your advocacy, because just because they're talking about something that you're that you're feeling in real time, they're grifters out here. And they're just grifters out here coming from a whole different community, and they're trying to set up shop to make a buck. Like I said, some of these podcast mics, they need to be repossessed by the IRS, child.
I literally said the same thing. I said, not everybody needs a podcast. Like, I mean, honestly, not everyone needs it. And it's very few podcasts that I listen to, like very, very few. But there's a lot of people who do not need a mic in front of their mouths. I'm just saying. But yeah. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it. No one else came up to speak. I think we pretty much covered everything. Shout out to everyone that contributed to the super chat. And also, I didn't acknowledge this one. Shout out to DeMarcus for this 5. He said, "What's good, Torian? I would love if you do a collab with UAN TV because I think that collab would be very interesting." Okay, well, maybe I'll look into that. But Pam, before we get out of here, make sure you tell people where they can follow you. And I need to make sure to leave your information.
Well, if you are interested in celebrity legal news, celebrity news, any kind of pop culture chat, you can follow me on my channel. That's Pam Entertainment TV. Pam Entertainment TV is one word. You can follow me there. If you're interested in movie and television series reviews and any type of reaction, you can follow me on at PETV_reacts. That's PETV_reacts.
And I just put Pam's channel in the chat so y'all can make sure y'all get it. I'll probably pin it at the top of this chat after the live is done. So when the playback, people can just go right there and they can go and subscribe, because she definitely does great work over there. When she did the whole Jonathan Majors one, I mean, Pam was on it. I mean, I followed it to an extent, but Pam was on it every single step of the way. But yeah, I appreciate you, Pam, for coming on. I'm glad that we was able to finally do this collab. I said you definitely was someone I needed to have as a co-pilot when it came to discussing this particular topic, for sure. Because you helped fill in some of the gaps I definitely would have missed.
I appreciate it.
All right, y'all, we are about to get up out of here. I hope y'all had a good time. You know, this is a lot of information right here. It, filled in some of the gaps for those of y'all who were kind of following the story. And I'm glad that I was able to come on here along with Pam so we could help y'all with this story right here. We will be back on here tomorrow. The live that I do have scheduled for tomorrow it's a whole separate live that's going to be at the same time. Also, the video collab that I have with Afro and ZZ is coming tomorrow as well. So I know y'all can't wait for that. So tomorrow's going to be a pretty full day. So I can't wait for y'all to see it. And with that being said, we are about to get up out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. If you are on the East Coast, please try to stay as warm as possible, because that snow was crazy. Like, we got some snow yesterday, but the people up in New York, I heard y'all got a couple of feet. So I don't know. Yeah, like I heard they got like 25 inches up there. That's crazy. But shout out to y'all. Stay safe, stay warm, but most importantly, be one.